Hey y'all, today I'm giving you a full rundown on this hair. This was very different from me because the curls are much smaller, but I have to say I feel like I like it so much more. I'm also going to give you guys some tips on how to make your crochet braids look as natural as possible. So if you're interested in everything to do with this hair, then just keep watching. This is the Outre Xpression 3C Whirly loop. Okay, I know that's a mouthful, but that's what it is. Look for the lady with the red hair on there. Look for her. I purchased 6 packs of this hair to do my hair, and I actually ended up only using 5.5. This is the 4-in-1 loop. You see there's a loop up here, and the reason why they call it 4-in-1 is because as you can see, there are 4 ringlets in here. The first thing I noticed about this hair was that it felt so much better than any other crochet hair that I had ever felt, which actually has me wanting to go back and try some of the other crochet hair by Outre. So I've had this in for it's like 4 or 5 days now. When I first put it in, I didn't like it that much. I feel like as you wear it, with most crochet hairs, this applies as you wear it, it begins to look more real. It has grown too. So when I first had it in, it was a lot more like slinkier like this. Like, I don't experience much matting, and I also noticed too that I'm not cutting out as much hair. As for the wear, I feel like it wears really well. It feels good to the touch, like I mentioned. I feel like it's overall like a really good hair. Like, I feel like, oh, it says 100% premium fiber, so I don't know if that makes a difference. Probably gonna be my #1 go-to crochet hair from now on. Moving on to the most requested part of this video. I posted this picture a few days ago. Everybody kept asking me, how do I get my crochet braids to look so natural? Regardless of if the hair is $6 or $600, I feel like you can achieve that. You just have to know how to work with it, okay? So there are a few things that I always do when I'm doing my crochet braids. #1, I don't care what your braid pattern look like. I don't care what your braid pattern look like. So many times I see people with these intricate, like, braided little tiny up here, straight, and then braid it down, and then bring them back. Okay. I have 6 braids in this head. I have 2 over here, and then I have 4 over here. Your braid pattern doesn't matter. I find for me, it's more believable with a side part than with a part in the middle. Wherever you plan on parting your hair, do not make that part super straight. I actually purposely kind of part it like where I know I'm gonna like wear my part on a curve and a little raggedy, because if this were my real hair, I honestly wouldn't be, if my hair was this big and curly, I wouldn't be like trying to make it super straight, and 2, you wouldn't be able to tell if my part was that super straight because of the curls. Leave them edges alone. Leave them alone. Your edges, this ain't the time for them to be gelled down. It's gonna expose your parts where your braids are, because then you're gonna swoop it down, and then you're just gonna see where you started putting that crochet hair. As you can see, like, my braids kind of start far back. My edges, I'm not messing with them at all. I left them alone purposefully, especially like right here. So these are 2 braids right here in the front here. I really left this alone so I could pull it out so that camouflages that part right there. Left out like this hair from my braid and didn't grab that up, and I just kind of like twisted into like one of the curls or whatever, just sit it on top right there. That puffy, like, thick looking root, it looks like this hair is growing out on my scalp. So leaving the edges alone is perfect for this hairstyle. I put the hair in just like as is with the loop already done, all the way up to like about here. Once I get to about right here is when I start to separate these. You'll see the little knot that's there, and just snip it. You separate this, you pull it out of its loop, and you have the hair that's straight. The ringlets come apart very easily. Once I get to my stopping point, which is about here, that is when I start applying these one by one. And I do that because you don't want to have these big knots up here at the top of your head. Back here, it doesn't really matter because you have so much hair that's already falling on top of those knots, so nobody's gonna really see that. I feel like once you separate these, it gives it a bit more volume up here. So I've already took the loop apart and separated it into 4s. When I get to this part area, like right here where my part is, like where you're actually gonna be able to see down to the root, I need to start separating these. So I separate them into 3s. You're gonna separate, it's gonna look like that. All you have to do is just like curl it back up with your finger. I'm just gonna put a link around here to my crochet video. I have a full tutorial on how I do my crochet, so you can see the technique that I use to knot my hair. I don't just apply the crochet here to the braids. Once I get to this part, just look y'all, this part is really what irks me, okay? My part has to look somewhat believable. Attach the hair not to the braid itself, but to the hair that's actually going into the braid. What I mean is, you see how this hair is attached to the braid? If this were my part, I would loop hair underneath here. That is to, one, bring this gap together a little bit more. That's exactly what I did over here. I brought that gap together by looping the hair in between the hair that's actually going into the braids versus only leaving it on the braids itself. I don't recommend doing that on any of your edges. Like, don't be like just braiding your edges super tight and then like looping the hair through your edges. Don't do that because that'll break off your edges. But also too, you have to be very mindful and pay attention when you're taking it out because you don't want to accidentally like snip off your whole braid. That's about it, y'all. Like, that's all I do to get my hair to look as natural as possible. And I must say, I feel like I make this $6.99 hair look pretty damn good. If you guys have questions, let me know. Don't be afraid to comment on here. I will always get back to you. And also like this video, you guys, if you thought it was helpful. And don't forget to subscribe if you made it all the way to the end. Why are you just peacing out? No. So that's all for now, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.